with EndNote software. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm actually not gonna go full screen. Instead, I'm actually gonna use maybe like half of the screen because we will do some in-class activity. So EndNote is a commercial reference management software. We use it quite a bit for writing manuscripts. I hope you already started using it. In case if you did not, I strongly recommend that you download either the online version of it, which is, I believe, is free, or get the full suite which you install on your computer. So Wayne State University provides access to this software via this link, which I've posted in my lecture. We're gonna go to this page in a second. So if you follow this link, it will take you to the link which is related to the EndNote online. It provides brilliant number of resources for what we should be for what you can learn about the EndNote. It brings the EndNote user guide. It brings all kinds of other tools for citing. It also discusses different versions of the software. In case if you click on the on this tab, download EndNote, you will be able to follow the link to be able to purchase and download EndNote from Wayne State. And there are different versions which are related to access for software for students. So in case if you're following this, please use this link to be able to access the software. The goal of my today's presentation, though, is to go briefly through the use of the EndNote and really show you the benefits of using the EndNote and hopefully hook you up on this software. So going back to my PowerPoint presentation, what we will do today, we will go to Web of Science, and we will search for some literature. We will download the reference files for this software, and we will integrate them in the EndNote library. So I'm already on the Web of Science through the Wayne State Access. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to search for COVID-19, which is related to our application that we are writing in class. So here I'm going to choose topic. Here I'm also going to choose magnetic resonance. As another topic. And we will search for these two. And surprise, surprise, there are actually two papers. So these are not necessarily, these may not necessarily be original papers, but these are kind of like perspectives. So, but when you search on the Web of Science, there are options to be able to download this citation. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to select both of these references because I'm interested in both of these. And here, I'm actually going to click on this icon to export to EndNote desktop because I already have the software installed. And here, I will ask it to download both records. So now we wait for the magic to happen. It will download the file, which you can see here. And then I will open this file in EndNote software, which is shown here. And what's going to happen is EndNote will open these two files containing the information about these two references. So as you see, both of these references got imported. And I'm sorry if the font size is too tiny here. I'm going to click on one of them. It provides several different fields in this window, lists the authors, provides the formatted version of this reference. My goal here at the beginning is actually to do something else. So now we can manipulate with these references because we have records. What I will also do here, I will click on one of the references and I will try to access one of these PDF files. Why do I want to do this? As you're going to be growing your EndNote library, again, for a typical proposal, this could be somewhere between 30 to 50, 30 to 100 references. You will realize that managing these files will also become a problem. So I'm looking for PDF. I'm not seeing it here. Well, let me try another one. I hope we have access to clinical medicine. Oops. We might not. Let me give it another try. In case if it doesn't work, we'll proceed with, oh, never mind. Full text, show more. I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm actually gonna go and do another search. I'm gonna search for two more references, and these are related to the two authors that co-authored that paper that we were reviewing in class. And here, I'm gonna go back to the search field, choose author, because these two keywords correspond to the last name of the two authors. And here's another one, and here's my typo. I'm going to perform a search for these two, and we should be able to get something like 10 to 12 references. We actually got 16. So here I'm interested only in a few references. I really would like to download that paper that we were citing. So this paper, viral induced self-assembly of magnetic nanoparticles. And let's say I'm also interested in a few of their other more impactful works. Some of these have been cited a tremendous number of times. So again, here when I click on the export. And again, as you can see, you can export as many records as you like. This is very convenient in case if you're dealing with a lot of references. Again, here I'm dragging this file to be able to open it in EndNote. This may work slightly different on PC, but what you will see right now is that these 5 references, they will be added on top of the other ones. So in case if I click on all references, I will now see all of my 7 references. So I'm interested in particular for this reference, which is 2003 JAX paper that we were reviewing. So what I will do, I will click on this paper. This one we definitely should have access for because this comes from JAX. Interesting. That still didn't work. Let me try browsing journal. That didn't work either. Hold on a second. This is a wrong reference altogether. I'm interested in this reference. So I'm clicking. There we go. Finally. So clicking on the PDF, I'm going to save this PDF locally now when I have access to it. And let's say I'm going to save it here in my today's lecture folder. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to EndNote. And here I will do, I will attach the file, I will attach this PDF file. And the value for attaching the PDF file is then you will have the PDF in this EndNote library at your fingertips, which is very convenient because in case if you're dealing with multiple references and trying to recall, oh, where was that? You can actually access all of this. So I'm selecting this file as an attachment to this particular record within the library. So what you're gonna see here in this field right now, there is this paper which is showing up, and you can see kind of like thumbnails here, which is great. What I can do here, I can scroll down, find this PDF. So let's say, you know, I need to come back to my library and I need to access this PDF real quick. I can now double click and it will load in the PDF reader that I will have, which is great. Again, this allows you to have access to these references at your fingertips. So what we will do now, we will practice inserting these references in the Word file. So let's say, for example, I'm interested in inserting this record into specific aims or the outline that we will be drafting in a few minutes. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to Edit, Oh my God, it's really working slowly. Copy. I'm gonna go to a Word file. And and this is, as you may recall, is the outline that we drafted. So what I will do here, I actually want to replace this information that we were inserting explicitly by a reference. I'm gonna go to Edit. I'm gonna paste. And what's gonna happen, there will be some synchronization between EndNote and Word, and this reference is gonna be inserted in this kind of like really weird format. That's not exactly what we need. Here in Word, what you see here is the EndNote X8 tab. I'm gonna click on this tab, and I will choose a format that I would like to have this reference cited. And let's say I chose ACS format. So what's gonna happen now is a referencing software is gonna start and process this reference, hopefully. Okay, it didn't do it, but let me give it another try. So let's say I want to process this reference now again. Ta-da! What it shows 1, which is formatted in the ACS style. If I scroll down to the end of the document, I will find my reference listed here. Unfortunately, as you see, this is using some really strange formatting. It uses Calibri 12, and as you guys may recall, I wanted to use font size Arial 11. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to type literature cited, and this becomes my literature cited place. What I will do here, I'm going to go back to the EndNote. I'm going to go to bibliography, and I will go to configurable bibliography to be able to set it up the way that I would like to have it. So here I'm going to choose layout. I'm going to go to Arial. Hopefully it will do it faster. There we go. I would like to have Arial 11, so I will specify this information here. And here you have some other fields. I'm not going to focus on them right now. I'm going to click OK. What EndNote should do now, it should go back and fix this reference after it does the additional round of formatting. The end product, though, is the proper formatting, where you will actually have Arial font, or the one that you specified, which is what I want. And here, the references are now listed very condensedly. The thing that you may realize, I'm using ACS style, and you're going to be asking me a question, well, you're writing an NIH proposal. Well, in this particular case, I'm actually going to switch a style. I can here, for example, I can choose NIH style. So as I do this, the software synchronizes things between Word and the EndNote simultaneously. Now this literature citation is listed differently. It's listed as 1 in parentheses, which is the NIH style. And if I scroll down, it uses the NIH style. So let's see what's going to happen in case if I insert several different references. So let's say in a different place, I would like to actually insert 3 references. So it asks me to save some files. I will gladly save it. Okay, so let's say I will choose these 2 and the last reference to insert in some other place. So if I go back to my Word document and let's say here I would like to insert it, let's say someplace here as an example. So I insert these references. Now, as you see, several different references have been inserted. God, it's not really responding. It actually does it automatically. So there are ways to set it up to automated mode. Right now, it is actually in the automated mode. So as you're going to be writing things, you can be inserting these references. Word will format them. Know that the numbering for these references follows the numbering of how they occur within the Word document. So, for example, this was our reference number 1. This is 2 and 4. At the bottom, in the list of the references cited, these will be listed as they appear in text. Another cool feature of EndNote is, let's say you ended up changing where this first reference actually occurred, or you decided to reshuffle things. So I'm gonna actually move this reference from here to, let's say, there, to the end of the text. And here I'm gonna click it. Actually, it's gonna do it for on its own because it's in the automated mode. And as you see, the numbering has changed. So my first 3 references are now listed as 1 through 3. And my last reference is actually listed as number 4. If I scroll down, the ordering has changed here as well. So these are really cool features. You may not fully appreciate it when you're dealing with, let's say, 4 or 5 or even 10 references. However, when you're dealing with tens of different references, this is where it comes super, super handy, because managing all of these things is very difficult, especially managing between different documents. So with this, I'd like to switch to another in-class exercise for today. I'd like to switch to drafting the background and significance section for our proposal that we were working on for specific aims and for abstract. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to actually enlarge things. So as you may remember—
So Ed, before you get started, there were actually some questions that came up on your presentation about the significance and background section that I didn't see them until you had already started with the EndNote. So maybe let's talk about those right now so that you can incorporate them into the in-class activity. So one of them asks if you would mind to talk a little more about the difference between significance and innovation.
Sure, that's actually a very good question. And again, I always struggle with delineating the two. So for the innovation section, what you're really going to be discussing is the innovative aspects of your technology. Your goal is really to state why this is new and say the new aspects of this technology. So as we're going to be moving on with this class, we will be writing innovation section and you will see the differences. In the significance section though, your goal is to say, your goal is to discuss why this project is significant. So the key difference here is not to fall into the trap of saying, oh, this proposal is significant because it's innovative. That's the wrong way to advance. You need to kind of think of them as 2 different aspects or 2 different sides of the same coin, so to speak.
Can I chime in? I guess I think of significance as more relevant to like the big picture. So how, the significance really relates to how you're going to change the world, right? How is your research idea going to affect something that is important to human health or human existence, right? That's significant. Is the problem you're solving going to lead to a improvement in the human condition, right? That's fundamentally different to me than innovation, because innovation is more about the approach or the technique. Are you doing something that's innovative in the method? Are you have an innovative hypothesis? Are you using an innovative strategy, reaction? So I think of significance as more big picture, human condition, where innovation tends to be, to me, more about the approach, the strategy, the reactions, kind of the methods.
Right, and you guys don't need to be worried about the innovation for this section. It's going to come a little bit later. We're going to be giving a class on that too. And to me, the kind of like important thing to remember about innovation is your proposal may not be like, innovative from the very beginning to the end. Meaning like, maybe your technique is not going to be innovative, but the application of this technique to something may be innovative. In some cases, there are proposals where, the technique is known, the method is known, but the disease to which it has been applied is different. That's the innovation. So,
or there could be a biological hypothesis that no one's explored yet, and that's your hypothesis, and that would be the innovative aspect. You don't have to have 7 different ways of being innovative, just some aspect of your approach your hypothesis as innovation.
Exactly.
Do you guys want to, I mean, there's 2 more questions. So
oh, sure.
Before we move on to those, does that make sense? Any other follow-up? Okay, so let's move on to the second question, which is also in the chat. And I see there's a hand raised too, so I'll get to the hand raise in a second. The second question is, are we allowed to use diagrams? I assume that means figures in the background and significance section.
Right, so I mean, for this first draft, we're not requiring those. In case if you do want to use them, we're obviously going to welcome them. But you're not required for this first draft, which we ask you to turn in by Monday, to have graphical elements. Eventually, in your final draft, we will be asking you to include your graphics.
Yeah. My feeling there is that just to make a more aesthetically pleasing proposal, I would suggest you try to put figures throughout the document. And certainly it will be in the background and significance section, but we intend on Monday to talk all about effective figures, how to make them, how to incorporate them into your writing. And so we thought we would first have you kind of work on the writing, the text and the reference, and then next time you can think about how to add figures.
Right, and this is kind of like a really good example of integrating the figure in the text, and we'll cover that.
Right.
But again,
so we'll talk about that. Yeah, next time.
Sure.
Okay, so Yannick Wanzi has got his raised hand. You want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, so I was going to ask a question about the EndNote. So are we restricted to using just EndNote for the citation, or we can use another referencing software like maybe Mendeley or?
You're welcome to use anything you like. EndNote is what I use, and I believe this is what Mary Kay uses too.
So the big advantage of using EndNote, and I mean, again, it's, we'll accept any reference program, but the big advantage of EndNote that I think you can see from what Ed presented is that you can create a body of references for your papers, and you can use that same group of references for any publication that you want to use. So for this independent proposal, this is probably the only document you will write on this. But when it comes to your research in your PI's lab, in your research, in your graduate work, you'll probably write a few papers with that EndNote document. You'll write your thesis, you'll write your prospectus. So when you go to write your prospectus, which is based on the work you're doing in your PI lab, you can use those same references for all the different documents you're using, and you can change the format to whatever you want. So keeping an EndNote file for your body of work for your research in your PI lab is, I think, the best way to go. I don't know that much about Mendeley, and maybe it also has that same versatility, but I find EndNote to be very easy to use and has that versatility. So anyway, that's the advantage. You can choose what you'd like to do.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any more questions? I think if not, you can move on to the in-class activity.
Right, all right, let's switch to the in-class activity.